God bless you, everyone, and thank you for joining us. And welcome to another edition of Sign of the Times broadcast. I want to thank you for allowing us to come into your homes, your place of business, wherever you are today. This is a beautiful day that the Lord has made. Happy Friday to everyone. We made it to the end of another week. And we just want to thank you for allowing us to be a part of your lives today. And we've had a wonderful week this week. God has really been blessing us with Apostle Stephen Gardner this week, as well as Dr. David Walker really blessed us on this week. And Bishop Abram Dixon was spectacular on Wednesday as we dealt with some issues. And then yesterday we got a chance to talk to Dexter Scott, and it was just phenomenal. And we're expecting I promise, a great broadcast today on this beautiful Friday. We're expecting to go deeper and more in depth about the things that are going on in our world and in our lives. And we have had a wonderful time. I do want to remind you, as I always tell you, make sure that you be safe out there, protect yourself and protect others. It's not just about you. I often get around and I see people without protection and without taking care of themselves. And it's not just an indictment on your feelings about this pandemic, but it's an indictment about how you feel about others. Make sure that you protect others. And if you protect others, then others would take the steps to protect you, and then we'll be safe. We need you. Make sure not only that you cover yourself, but make sure that you get your hand sanitizer, whatever it is. I've got several around here. I've got pumps and I've got everything. Just pump it up and do what you have to do to make sure that you and your family is safe. Why? Because we need you. We need you here. We need you to be here for this next level of blessings that God is bringing your way. We've also had wonderful times during the evening this week in which God has been dealing with us about prayer. Today, we have a special guest, my friend and brother for many years, will be with us today, and he is standing by waiting. So what we need to do is we're going to handle some business. We're going to do what we do every day. We're going to prepare ourselves for this broadcast today as we're ready. I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm excited about what's happening today and what's happening in your life. This is Sign of the Time. Check this out, and we'll come right back with our special guest. All right, everyone. Want to thank you for watching that. For all of your beauty supply needs, for everything that you need, we want you to go to alstonbeauty.com. Go to alstonbeauty.com for all of your beauty needs, your hair products, your Brazilian hair, for everything that you need, for beard grooming, for everything that you need. You guys know what you need. You guys know what you need to be beautiful. You guys are beautiful. So go to Austin Beauty for all of your beauty needs. Listen, I do want to pop a couple things up before my guest comes on. I want to show you a new project that I just finished. I just revised my book entitled Son of Another Mother, The Struggle of Being Adopted, in which I wrote in detail about this struggle in life that we go through, this struggle of being adopted. You grow up asking yourself a question. As you can see, the young man, he has no identity, but yet you go through life wondering, do I owe my allegiance in life to the mother that pushed me into life? Or do I owe it to the mother that pushed me through life? And until I find out who I owe my allegiance to, am I who I am as a result of my nature, who pushed me into life, or my nurture, who pushed me through life? And then there's a special chapter that I can't wait for you to read. entitled, it's a question. It is entitled, But Where Was the Man? Where was my father through all of this? We live in a society in which we're struggling with fatherless homes, and the result of them, the statistics are staggering. At the end, you realize something as you chronicle the life of this young man. You find out that he owes his allegiance to both. So that book is available. If you would like to order it, it's in the process right now. I just finished revising it and having it published. But if you would love to pick up a copy, you can go to the site, simple site, lulu.com, LULU.com, and pick up a copy. Just type David Alston in the search engine and you'll see both of my new books, that one as well as a revised copy, a new modern version of No Pain, No Gain. Those books are both there on lulu.com, and you can pick up copies of those books today. Son of Another Mother and No Pain, No Gain. All right, we've had enough commercials. We've had enough promotions. I'm ready for my guest on this beautiful Friday. He is an awesome man of God. He is a dear friend of mine. We've been knowing each other for years. And let me tell you who he is. He is an awesome pastor. He is the apostle and the pastor of Faith and Power Christian Center International, and in one of my favorite towns, one of my favorite cities, the great big city of Dunn, North Carolina. Everyone help me welcome my dear friend and brother, Apostle Ron Spears. Thank you, for my friend, for taking time out of your busy schedule, very busy and hectic schedule, to join us. Thank you, my friend.
Bless you, Bishop. Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Apostle.
Okay. First of all, I love Jesus.
Yes.
I'm married to the wonderful Laverne Spears, who is now also pastoring here at Faith and
Right.
Power Christian Center, because of the fact that I oversee other ministries throughout this country, and so I stay busy a lot. I was listening to conversations between you and Doctor, your friend from Philadelphia.
Oh, Dr. Walker.
That's Walker, yeah. And one of the things that impacted me was the fact that you all was talking about doctoral credentials, and well, I want to say that I do have an earned doctorate.
Right. All right.
And,
Awesome. Congratulations.
so thank you, sir. And I'm working on the second one now. But God is good. Of course, we're in the big city of Dunn, North Carolina.
Yes.
Our travel has been cut down a lot because of the pandemic, and several conferences that I was supposed to be doing last month. But because of the fact that the pandemic, we did not do it. But man, besides that, we're just loving Jesus. We're still trying to win souls for the Lord. And just a keynote of humor here. And I still play basketball.
I'm retired.
I tried, but I couldn't.
You know what I tell the younger people? I say I'm retired, but keep in mind I am in the Hall of Fame.
I just got elected. I just got
okay. All right.
Yeah. Wow.
I try to do it, when I try to play basketball, it gets real spiritual.
Right.
Yeah, because the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Well, God been good to me. I kind of just want to share this with you real quick. During the times that I was doing like revivals every month, several years ago, this might help someone out there. Several years ago, Bishop, I was doing a revival, and the Lord spoke to me, and He said, "If you give me the body, I will give you the spirit will last you longer." And I said, wow. That's deep, because as an athlete coming up, you're always trained and everything. And it's amazing that when you become a man of God, or especially in ministry, people got this ideal that you're supposed to stop training. And so for a moment, I remember jogging through a neighborhood, and a lady said, "Stop me." And she said, "But you're a preacher now. You don't need to be doing that." Paralyzed me for a moment. And in the midst of that revival, God gave me Romans 12:1. He's, I beseech you, brother, that you present your body
Good,
A
good,
living
right.
sacrifice. Now we can get the part about holy and acceptable, but the presenting your body as a living sacrifice. So that means keeping the temple ready. And so that's what I try to do from that day on. And God has done great things for me. I've done quite a few seminars on spiritual and physical health combined together. And I've done it for civic clubs and of course ministries and stuff. And I try to keep my people physical fit. But that's something that I took very seriously. And the fact that, that how could I present myself to be a total man of God if my temple was raggedy. And I saw you do some things, brother. I remember I looked at you now and I look how slim you done got.
Well, I mean, in the pandemic, all I do is sit around and lift weights all day. So
Okay.
I'm probably in the best physical shape that I've ever been in. And
Wow.
I just don't play basketball, but my sport is golf because you can compete.
Oh, okay.
You can compete on any level, and I just love playing golf. And same concept, putting the ball in a hole. But
That's just when I retire, I'm gonna do that one. When I can't do that, I'm gonna go that way.
Well, it's a sport that it doesn't matter your age. The worst whipping I got was by an 80-year-old man. So
wow.
Yes, but I love it. And beside what you're saying actually makes sense, Apostle, because how can we be effective if we physically can't do anything?
Exactly.
Right.
And they don't need to lay hands on someone else when you're sick.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned your conferences that were canceled. That tends to show us that we're living in a time when things are, the playing field has changed. Everything is different. How has it affected Faith and Power Christian Center? How has this pandemic affected just looking at the local church in Dunn? You say you cover other churches. How has it affected the church in Dunn? Because the church in Dunn is already in a small community. I've had some pastors on here that pastor mega churches. I have one that pastors 10,000, other almost 20,000. How has it affected your church in the small city of Dunn?
Well, it has tremendously. We did do the outside services, the drive-through parking lot thing. We just came in, I believe, Sunday, which, in a sense, we had an opportunity, Bishop, probably to have more exposure because of the fact that we could do social distances. We started doing social distancing probably in the beginning of March or the end of February. And we had a plan for that here when we could still have people in here. Now, believe it or not, Bishop, live streaming brought in a bigger audience to me, not so much as the community. And I'm so adamant in being effective within the community. It isolated community, but it brought in a bigger worldwide audience. But now, my thing now is to see how many people have became so conducive to the fact that I can stay in my home and watch it. I can stay in my bed now and just and watch it and not and forget the scripture, fail not to assemble yourself together. But so I'm waiting to see the effect this Sunday, really, how it's going. Well, maybe I need to wait next Sunday because of this is Memorial Day weekend. But it's hit. But God is faithful, man, and believe it or not, though, the spirituality of it has gone up tremendous. I've seen a dedication of my leaders like I've never seen before. I've seen passion with them, and when before this happened, it was mostly duty, obligation, but now I've seen passion from them.
Mm-hmm. Apostle, there's a question that I would love to get into because it's a sort of I don't want to say a tricky debate, because you mentioned the live worldwide audience. If we can talk about this for a moment. Now that there is no quote unquote traditional church gathering, let's just play with some numbers so I can get this argument. Say if you had 50 members that showed up every Sunday, Now you don't have those 50 members. You might have 10 that show up.
Mm-hmm.
You now have 40 of your members that are sitting out there watching you live stream every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But you said your numbers grow because now, because of the internet, you have 140, another 100 that's watching.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have 140 people watching you with the 10 there. So that's 150 people. You've gone from 50 to 150 by live streaming. The question is, when this is over, you're not going to get the 100 extra because they live in New York, they live in San Diego, they live in Milwaukee, they live in Florida, they live in South Carolina. They just saw you and love you and they tune in every. What about the 40 that didn't come? How many of those 40 are going to say, like you just said, I think I'll just lay here and watch it too?
Yeah. And that's something that, Bishop, believe it or not, that I have kind of like planned for. The Lord gave me the revelation, and I want to say this in reference to you and your program. During this time, I have listened to your program probably more than I ever had an opportunity to, and every person that you've had on your program, from Bishop Jones all the way through, have fueled my conversation when it comes to answering questions about the pandemic. And so I just want to let you know from that perspective that, man, you're touching people's life, especially leaders like myself that don't have this forum to sit down sometime and just be the student and to listen to other men and women of God come together and have a plan, because the whole thing that we are still one body,
Right.
and there are many members, and so this is what I got. The Lord said this doing, I don't know which one of your broadcasters it was, but maybe it was the formation of all of them. He said these questions here. These we're talking about spiritual obligations, spiritual sons. I heard your conversation with Bishop Noah Jones said that he was not looking for any more spiritual sons. He's looking for a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so, man, that hit me hard. So, because that was something that I was developing a lot, spiritual sons, spiritual daughters, and this aspect. And to the point that I've learned something, that spiritual daughters, as we look at Absalom and them, spiritual daughters and spiritual sons has the ability to also hinder you because they're familiar with you. And then there's a sense that they try to develop too quick on their own also. But this is what the Lord told me about that 40 that probably would not. And that's probably how many it was. So you're working as a prophet now. But he says this thing. He said that whenever the spiritual daughters, or the spiritual sons and the daughters, or the spiritual children that are raised become to the point they become complacent, he began to speak to me because of the fact of the word where I reached. He said, I'm going to the adoption agency and send you some.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's an audience out there that, listen, we had people come from the parking lot. I was on one Sunday and someone was in a different city, 50 miles away. One was up in Greensboro, North Carolina. They heard the broadcast. They heard me outside, and they tried to get here before it was closed. And one woman of God said, I had to come because the Lord told me to come plant a seed in you. And she drove all the way down and got the end of the message. So it's those ears that I believe that God is going to sensitizing and is going to bring people around that come. And man, there's been some things happen, Bishop, that just totally blown my mind in the last 2 weeks. And whereas, because as a leader here and leader of the ministries, sometimes you can become so mundane in what you do because it's just it's routine. But when the interruption comes, you got to reevaluate who you are. You got to reevaluate what the church is, and you got to make sure that your mission is lined up with what God called you for, and not me giving God what I want him to do. And so that's what it is.
Good point. Good point, Apostle. But now my question to you is our inability, is during times like this, you said we need to readjust. Is the fact that we don't know how to readjust an indictment on our leadership ability?
It's a learning process. Just like NBA and NFL, everybody has to go through the readjustment now.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Beginning. So the indictment shouldn't be heavier as we taking the faith to go forward. And once again, it's never going to be the same. We know that it's never going to be the same. I got a feeling though it's going to be better. I do. I believe because what caught me with your broadcast was the first thing was not to the fact that I knew it was David Alston that done it. You know, your title got me. I saw this come across my Facebook page that said, signs of the end time. So that got me because I'm an eschatology man. So I sit there and I said, oh man, let me listen to this. And then when I figure out it was you, I said, oh, that's my brother. But see, it's those type forms that's going to cause us to be better. Because once again, I think what has happened, Bishop, is that we have a fraternity of brothers and sorority of sisters in the gospel that we can glean from. And like, for instance, I listened to everything that Bishop Noah Jones said. Not knowing, I can't mimic him, like there's no two churches alike, but you can take ideals from people that's probably more seasoned than you are, and then incorporate them into wherever culture that you're in. And so here I understand there's a Pacific culture. One of the things that I've done here is modernize the people's thinking. Although they are in done, they are not in done.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So the culture has not tainted who they are. And because of the pandemic, once again, I have been blessed to the fact that I can look out into my audience now and I can see leaders that have passion. These leaders now are reaching the people that they never talked to before. Because once again, and I've had better opportunities now to sit down and train them better because I'm not running around the country as much. And so, I now got a chance to do this, not through a manual, but through hands-on where they can actually ask me questions and things of that aspect. So the indictment, getting back to your question, I think we're going to have the indictment is not going to be bad. I just believe that this is a period of time that God has sanctioned us. One of the things I want to allude to is this. I do a lot of prophetic teaching. And one of the things that people always ask, or they state, well, God ain't speaking anymore. We don't need the apostles. You don't need the prophets anymore. I was reading something, and especially dealing with the end times, that Revelations, I think it's 7 or no, it's 11, 2, the whole chapter. That when God began to speak to the last regime of prophets, which he proclaims is going to be two of them, and they're going to come back and they're going to speak to the people during the time of tribulation. So in the Old Testament, God says to this right here, he says, look, nothing happened on the earth realm unless I first revealed to my servants the prophet, Amos 3:7. So for him to have it there and for him to have it at the end time, lets me know that there's a need for the prophet to speak now. The problem is that we have to get to the point where, like you said, prophets are afraid of indictment now their own selves. They are, because of the fact that, once again, these issues happen. People run to the prophet now, wondering what's happening. Is it end times? Pandemic said, is the end time? Is the world going to end? Is this the signs of the time? Go ahead.
Apostle, I want to interrupt, but this is good conversation. I love this because you brought up something that I was actually going to say during the question, but I stopped. You brought up sports. Now, I'm a middle school football. I'm the head football coach at a middle school. And during the game, before the game, I sit down and I have a game plan.
Mm-hmm.
I practice with my players. I see what they do well, and I have a game plan. I already map out my plays. I know what I'm going to do offensively. I have an assistant coach that he strictly runs the defense. I don't touch the defense. But offensively, I have a game plan. During the game, I may notice that the other team is really clamping down on my game plan.
Mm-hmm.
As a coach, now I have to readjust. And a lot of times I scrap the entire playbook, and I may run three or four plays
Mm-hmm.
and that are working. And I'll just keep running those plays that are working because now I'm making my opponent readjust to me.
Exactly.
So
Wow. Call a revelation. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sure I did too. And so what I'm saying is, as spiritual leaders, we are in essence coaches.
Exactly.
We don't own the team. He owns the team, but we're coaches.
Wow.
Is our struggle that we don't know how to adjust? That was my question in the middle, to make our opponent readjust to us. Now, my point for asking that is, I was a first year head coach. I've been an assistant coach. There are times when I walk away scratching my head saying, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
I was then able to go to another coach that's more experienced and sit down and glean from him. And he said, man, look, you need to try this, scrap that'll never work. Do this. And I'm saying, is our problem that we don't have other coaches? Some coaches would never help me. The reason they would never help me is because they don't want to help me so that I can be better or defeat them. Is our problem that we don't have other coaches in the church that will help us? Because like, I can't come to, my church, things are failing. And now, I'm on the losing end. Let me contact Coach Spears and see, can he give me some pointers? But yet Coach Spears is saying, I'm not going to help you because I don't want your team or your church to outdo mine.
Good point, Bishop. And I think that's anemic of our culture too. But what is it? I think Luke 6:40 states about students are not above the teacher, and that, but who are really trained and they kind of got the same similarities as their teacher. One of the things that you said, you go to them. If you want help, you go to another coach, and mentees must chase the mentor, not the mentor chasing the mentees. And I believe this right here. I believe that I don't mind asking somebody something. You understand? If I don't know something, I'll ask them. Right. Let me tell you something. If God has blessed me with great people around me, but if I had the contacts you had, I'd be calling all day. Saying, "Hey, look at hey, Bishop North." I do. Because it's all right to do for somebody else, man, to make you better. But once again, I don't have what have 20, 30,000 people like he has, or whatever. But I go to conferences sometimes to sit back just to gain knowledge, because once again, it's dumb for me to go lacking, and I know somebody like you have the knowledge of something. It's better for me to ask you, how do you do it, man? Or what can I do to improve myself? As leaders, we always need to be held accountable. I don't care who it is. We need to be held accountable. And there has to come an assessment of our life. Like, it's a lot of times, I'm a sport fanatic too. There's a lot of times, man, that I used to watch things and when I'm playing in the midst of a game or something, I have an offensive mind. But if I'm watching how somebody's playing me defensively, then I got to do some adjustments. Right. They didn't hold on to what I'm doing. So I got to do some adjustments to be a winner in this situation. And what you said, I'm going to preach that one. I'm going to tell you right now, Bishop, I'm going to preach that thing before you got to make the adjustment for the enemy not aware of who I'm going to get that. Anyway, I think the greatest asset that we have is the fact that we can make adjustments during the game.
Right.
And we can do it, spontaneously like that. The enemy can't adjust that fast. You didn't score before they can make adjustments. They won't ready for that one because they have your playbook.
Right. Right.
Let me back up. Good God, Jesus. Whoops. Lord, excuse me.
The reason we don't make adjustments is because we're too stubborn.
Exactly.
We think, I know it. This is what works. And what you can go into a situation you don't know because you have an enemy that already has a greater game plan, but your brilliance is not in going in prepared. Your brilliance is going in being able to adjust.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
And during this pandemic, the brilliance of the pastor, the brilliance of the bishop or the apostle is not that he was called knowing everything, but that now during this pandemic, he's able to readjust.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Question.
I'm on you interviewing me, man, but you teaching me.
I wrote a question down for you when you were talking. It was so good. You brought out a point that I had to write it down. When this is over, do you think, not yourself, but let's talk globally, would most pastors rather have a ministry in which they have 150 members online or 10 sitting in the building?
Wow, that's a good question.
150 faithful online versus 10 sitting in front of you.
Wow. Well,
and then of course, part B, why?
Okay.
I do like I do the students in school. Why or why not?
I got you, sir. Well, I don't want to throw one of Bishop Jones' big words in there now, wow, that's a good question. I think effectively, if you want to be effective, then you want to be able to do those that that are sitting there helping you online, and you can reach more people. But I'm a my own hands person, Bishop. I like to see people. I like to interact with people. I like them to be able to ask questions after the sermon. Online, I can minister to you through the word. You can get blessed to going back and creating study projects for yourself, but physically, man, I can get on there and I can deal with demonology. I can deal with personal issues that you're going through. I'm touchable. I'm reachable, and I like the streaming like we're doing now. But I pray to God that it never gets to the point that it replaces the actual gathering together. Because once I got to go back to the scripture when it said, "Fail not to assemble yourself together," and I know that in the field that in the world that we're in now, and I know technology has become this platform, and I know someone is going to say, well, we're still touching people on internet, and we are, but to fail not to assemble ourselves together. Like I'm talking to you now, and it is a blessing. But man, I can't wait to see you one-on-one, personally, right? And so it's the why. It's going to be hard because I think both of them are going to be a tool. Like now, I'm trying to determine. Let's talk about that 40 that decided want to stay home.
Okay.
I'm struggling now, Bishop, and once again, some of your great friendships out there, some of your great partners. Hey, they can text me, whatever, help me out with this. I'm wondering, is there a moment that I'm going to stop the live streaming and just say, okay, because once again, I have people that will drive from another state to come here to hear the word of God, to be in fellowship, to be able to share their experiences. And then, but if I'm concerned, you're gonna help me with this one, Bishop, too. You're gonna please help me. I'm asking for help right now. But But if I make everything so comfortable for them, that's decided, you know something, I'm just going to stay home and chill. And I can get them on the idea. I can get them on live stream. I can get them on Facebook Live. I can get them anyway. So why even go? That's my fear.
Okay. Well, in my introduction or my explanation of let me do this real quick, Apostle. In my book, I mentioned that my struggle was, do I owe my allegiance to one mother that pushed me in, or another mother that pushed me through life? At the end, after going through all of this, I'm not going to give it away because someone may want to buy and read it, but my point is, can this situation that we're in with live bodies versus virtual bodies, shouldn't this virtual ministry, shouldn't it be an additive to what we're already doing, to where we can do both?
Yes,
because
sir.
it seems like we were doing one thing. We had bodies in front of us, but just being real, only the real mega churches were doing a lot of live streaming. The smaller churches, we were just gathering with our congregations. We would just have it, but we really weren't focusing on getting the message out via the internet. Since this pandemic has hit, now your membership, someone sent me a message the moment that Bishop Jones came on the show, and they said, you know what? I don't know how many people you would have at church on a regular Sunday, but when you look at the numbers, that broadcast was viewed 1,500 of 1,500, 1,700 times. That's 1,700 church members that you had sitting there for that. There has to be an added where we don't have to, just because we come back doesn't mean that we scrap that.
I got you, sir. Incorporate both.
Both.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You incorporate both. Don't just say I'm going to do one. Just say I'm going to do both at the same time. And you can, by doing that, you reach the 40. Here, my point was this. Now you have to be innovative and make adjustments in order to reach. We can't get lazy and say, well, the 40 is out there, I can't reach them. No, now you have to make an adjustment. You got your 10 in, but you have to make an adjustment for that 40 that's out there, as well as understand that I have the same 100 from before that's watching.
Wisdom. Yes, sir. I agree. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so you just answered my question. What I'm gonna do? You just played the 40. Yes, sir. And I once again, this has been an experience for me. I've done television before. I've also, once again, did a live stream, and most of the time I do conference where they live streaming it anyway. Bringing them into the parameters of my city was interesting. One of the greatest things was that my doctoral professor, one of them that I was taking a class under, actually tuned into my broadcast. That it was amazing because they didn't know I was an apostle. I don't write that down as well. I'm there as a student. I'm not trying to push myself. And so he come, you're apostle. So now, he wants to come down and bring his family and everything. And so it has his advantages. And once again, Bishop, I probably would never abandon it. But I still want the passion of having my seats filled and seeing the people sitting here. But I believe this. I believe the live stream is going to bring them in too, because they're going to want to know what's the atmosphere is there. I mean, wow, let me go check it out. And that's what happened when I was doing our drive-in services outside and going there. So it had his additive components to it. And I'm going to continue it. But I'm going to do it better. I believe I'm going to do it better because once again,
Right.
I'm looking at how you do yours and everything, and I like this. So I might have to come sit down under you for a minute, get a coaching
I got
playbook. Can I do that?
I got you.
Can I
Listen,
come see
I
you?
got you. We talked about this. I'm not sure what that, you have so many guests on. I don't know what we talked about, but I do know it was either Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. I talked about it. And the question is asked now, wouldn't this be a great evangelistic opportunity to reach the lost and the hurting as well?
Mhm.
Because I'm telling you, that's a great question, because I'm telling you, Apostle, you know how we are. The
Yeah.
moment that these restrictions are lifted, a lot of us are going to say, and my problem is corporate America, such as Amazon and all of these companies, they are preparing for the go back, yet in a different way. So you take a company like Amazon that says we're going to buy AMC. They already have Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying we bought AMC movie theaters because people can't go to the movies and they're watching Prime.
Right.
Well, the movies that are normally in the theater have been shut off until they go back. Amazon is saying when you go back, maybe you're not going to go to the theater with your family because you're used to watching live stream movies.
Mm-hmm.
We purchased the movie theater. So now if you go back, we're gaining. But if you stay home, we're going to stream that same movie that's in the theater into your house. So now you just pay a little extra for the whole family to watch it. They're being innovative.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, these companies that are saying, listen, you guys may not want to go shopping in the store anymore. You may want to have your groceries delivered, or like Walmart, just come pick it up. My problem is the church just sitting back saying, I can't wait to get back. And then as soon as we get back, we're trying to go back to life as usual and fail to understand that we have been given through this pandemic a great opportunity to, as the question was posed, to reach the lost, to reach the hurting through evangelism. This is forcing us to use it. But when we go back, are we just going to scrap it? Because this is an opportunity to evangelize.
Great point, Bishop. I think this comes with leadership, being able to understand the innovative times. And um, once again, I'm looking to incorporate, both of them as wow. On like on Wednesday night, we just had, I have my leadership training and Bible study. I'm watching that one of the leaders bringing in the cameras. I said, what's going on? So they have adapted to it, and yeah, like for instance, like, once again, some of the leaders that's with me, they were with me when I had my television program, so they kind of used to this. Uh, I want to say, for the sake of internet, for social media, that I had a lot of things that improved. I really did. Once again, although I was busy, I was busy, restful.
Right.
That makes sense to you, right?
Right.
I could sit and minister just like this, and still have people calling me all types of night and stuff like that, asking me, to interpret that, or this is what I'm going through, or other ministries that come in. I've also had, because of live stream, has other pastors ask, could they come and sit and just mentor? So at the same table that I'm sitting there with you at, um, now I've had pastors come and sat down in the seats, and ask about the same thing about the innovation, or how do I reach, because they're one of the things that God did with me a while back, because I have been to the mega conferences, and I've been there, and I have been, how in our day coming up, that there was people that was trying to court me into
Right.
of their ministries and stuff, and showing me how I could have mega ministries. So, but taking me into a bigger market like Atlanta or something like that. I've been there, I've done that. But the Lord spoke to me something, Bishop, and I have not pulled away from it yet. What about the places that no one goes to, that needs quality ministry? This has been a great platform for myself, and in this rural areas where the there's probably 200-300 people there waiting on you, or they might not have the aptitude to reach out and to gather in information like we do. What about them? So I became to the point that I tried to study hard and to hear God more, because the most important thing in my life is to be able to hear God, to be in relationship with Him, so He can direct my path. And that's one of the paths that He's going. I still get called on major stuff at times, but to see them, I just had to do a eulogy just last weekend, and I had no idea that the family was going to ask me to do this. But what happened was that here was in a church, and the lady was an evangelist. Her desire was to have her whole family there. So here I'm going up towards Wrightsville Beach, and I get called to do a service there in a place that I've never heard of in the beginning, called Willard, North Carolina. So I did it, but guess what? All the kids came that day and they got saved. Okay, so I'm in a relationship with their pastor, and who's now wanting to sit and learn from some of the things we do.
Mm-hmm.
I go there, and here's the all the kids are there in the funeral home and everything, man. I'm literally crying, because when I'm up there, people here in my church are giving their life to the Lord. But the thing was that to watch that family and prepare them, the son that she thought was the most trouble has accepted the call to the ministry. She got a chance to see that before she passed. She check this out. She broke out of she before the pandemic, and I did a service up in that area. That she broke out of the rest home and come and hear the service.
Wow.
But those things touch my heart. And she's looked at stuff on Facebook, and she'll say things, but she going with the Lord. And I was so moved by that. And to see them out there, and to see them and to ask me to do it, I always want to be accessible to a situation like that, because I'm so passionate with people, and I know what it feels like to for someone to undergird you and to tell you, you can make it. There's something about you that's great. I had mentors like that. I had people to speak into my life like that. So I want to be able to always be able to do that. But now, if I can get them to the point to where they can understand live streaming and stuff, that aspect, of course, yeah. I just want to say this to the audience who's listening or whatever. Um, Programs like this, although we are the speakers to something, it makes you think about your own self, because questions that you have prompted me to reevaluate some things. And so I'm leaving this program today with a better with a better focus on actually what I need to do, because you made some valid points there. And because of that, I would never scrap this. I'm going to innovate it and to make it better. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. One more question. We're not going to hold you. I know you're busy. We've been here almost an hour. The
Oh,
question
wow.
came up the other day. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. The question came up the other day, and I thought about it when you were talking about the eulogy. The question is, and I keep looking at the question that was asked about an evangelistic opportunity. My question is, evangelize them to what? And when I
Wow.
say to what, we came up when I hope I'm not giving away my age, but I came up in a time when we would get out on the corner and pass out what we call tracts, and we
Right.
go out and we witness to people, and we would invite them to church.
Mhm.
Those that gave their life to Christ during that funeral, where do they go now? They can't do it. They can't come and sit in the church like, you know. So
Mhm.
it's evangelize them to what? It's almost like we can't lead them. We just have to point them now. So we have to readjust. That's going to probably be our theme for today. We got to
Well,
readjust.
can I implement it? Can I say this right quick, Bishop?
Please, please.
Okay, listen. You said something again. Okay. In evangelism, and I've done that for quite a long time. Evangelism is to create atmosphere for birthing and for the call of salvation. Once again, usually you say things that you probably need to start writing down. But you said, and your point, this is what we can do now because of the fact we live streaming and we got networks of people.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in there in a city and stuff, I like to think, here I am, people getting saved. I know good and well that I'm not trying to bring everybody to faith and power, because just because I win them doesn't mean they're assigned to me.
Uh-huh.
You understand? But
Right.
because of social media and because of networking, like with people like you, I could say, okay, Bishop Alston is, and you are down in, where are you? Rossburg.
Raleigh.
You in Raleigh now?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know you that close, man. We got to do something. I thought you way back there. Okay, so, but anyway, I can say, okay, in Raleigh, look, I know Bishop Austin. Uh, hey, man, we got the same type philosophy. We got the, so here, I want to tell you to go see him. He's a pastor. He can groom you into what you need to become. Because even with social media, we can talk to them through certain things. We can share certain things with them, and even on with Facebook, live, you can do certain things and then they can talk to you. But there's something about being able to sit in front of you and see your passion for them. So I don't want the pastoralship to lose its essence because of the fact that we got a wide stream of chance of getting a bigger audience. So once again, Pointer, and wow, let's go back to you being saying about the getting advice from other people. We as ministers of God have to also learn how to be pointers. We have to be, just because, like if somebody listen to me now, they say, "Oh man, I want to come out and hear Apostle speak," which it's so. But just because they come and hear me, that doesn't mean that they're assigned to me. So
Mm-hmm.
my job is to be a pointer. Okay. Okay, wow, man. You would be great with Bishop Austin, man.
Man, listen, we don't have time to just
Yes,
stay.
sir.
'Cause, I mean, because you just open up. I have a can of worms that I usually pull out. I would open it right here if we had time, because I was taught the fivefold ministry of the thumb being representing the apostle, because the thumb brings balance to the hand. I
Okay.
was told that the teacher is the pinky, and the ring finger is the pastor because he's married and obligated to the church. The evangelist is the middle finger because it extends and reaches out. But then I was told that the pointer, you said pointer. The pointer is the prophet because he's the way. I think one of the thing is everything I'm seeing prophets on social media doing is pointing. I see your financial blessing come. There's money coming.
Mm-hmm.
We in a time now. I don't need evangelism. Isn't pointing me to the bank.
Wow, come on now. Mm.
But I'm not gonna open that up because we don't have.
Yes, so we gotta come on and do another one with that one, man, because I do prophetic trainings. I would love to do that one for you.
Oh, we're definitely gonna do that. We definitely gonna do that. Man, I thank you. Like I said, we've been on here about an hour now, and it has been wonderful. I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know for a fact how busy it is, and I know it means so much to me that you consented to come on and talk. And we're gonna. I'm not normally I ask my guests, would you come back? But I'm not even gonna ask you because you're coming back.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man. You're doing a great job too, man.
Thank you, sir. Like to have any final words before you?
I just want to just close with this, and based on everybody that I've heard, I want to say to all the men and women of God that's been on this program and that is listening, let us embrace one another in the knowledge that we know. Because although there is a pandemic out there, the relief is still in the mouth of those that God has sent on this earth, friend. None of us know everything, but together we know a whole lot. So let's embrace that together as we lead forward and become the leaders that God has called us to be in this time. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, my friend. You have a great rest of the day, and we'll be in touch with you real soon. Thank you
I
so
love
much.
you,
I love you too, man. All
man.
right. All right, we want to thank our dear guest and my friend and brother, Apostle Ron Spears, for joining us today from Faith and Power Christian Center in Dunn, North Carolina. Faith and Power Christian Center International in Dunn, North Carolina, for joining us today, my dear friend and my brother. That was powerful. I really enjoyed that. I want to thank you for joining us today, not just Apostle Spears. You joined us today, and that meant a lot to me. Listen, again, if this broadcast has been a blessing to you today, then I want to challenge you to help us to come back on the air, to stay on the air so we can continue to bring more guests. We have I have a lot. If you have a guest that you would like to be on the broadcast, type their name in the comment section and we'll try to reach out to them. I'll reach out to you to get their contact information or have them contact me. And I would love to have them. We've got plenty of time, plenty of days ahead. We've got guests lined up. We try to schedule it far in advance to have great guests like Apostle Spears. This was wonderful, a wonderful day to take us out into the weekend. But I do also need another favor from you. I need you to hit the share button. Hit the share button, share this video, share it on social media, share it on your YouTube page, share it on your Facebook page, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, Snapchat, Gram, and all of those social media. Let's get the word out that it is time for us, ladies and gentlemen, to become good coaches and to readjust. We got to change our game plan. We got to change our strategy to make the opponent readjust to us. It puts me in control when I readjust and make you have to readjust to me. That was good. That was a good conversation from the man of God. And I really appreciate him and those fine people at Faith and Power Christian Center International in Dunn, North Carolina, my old stomping ground. We had some good times in Dunn. Listen, I want you to have a wonderful rest of the week. I want you to be safe out there. I want you to tell someone, listen, we only go around one time. Make sure that the people in your life that you care about and that you love, make sure that they know that you love them. It is a terrible feeling to walk around feeling, I wonder if he really cares. I wonder if she really cares. Show some love. Don't tell some love. When you go to bed tonight, I need you to do me a favor. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself one question. This week, from Sunday through Friday, did I work toward my purpose this week? Did I do something to validate who I am? Or did I just waste an entire week of my life? We'll see you on Monday right here. And remember that I love you and there's nothing you can do about it.